Well, I'm sometimes asked this question, what is the typical INFJ music, or what kind of music should INFJs listen to when they are looking to either stabilize or enrich their INFJ identity? And there's obviously no straightforward answer to this question, but I think that there are useful ways to look at it. And there's probably some substantial observations, a mosquito there, to make about this topic. And I've thought about it, and in the past, and you can refer back to those. You can look through my back catalog and see that I have particularly recommended what I consider to be like very good NI music. And I think often very good NI music is it can be like ambient music. That's very, very good for sort of a certain cultivation of the NI function. It can be orchestral music, instrumental music of various sorts, music that is generally not too full of time shifts and just like jumps all over the place, which would be more akin to an extroverted perception kind of mode. The thing is, I think there's two ways to look at the issue here. An NI dominant or a strong NI user might be looking at music consumption in a way that stabilizes their NI world. Maybe they are going through a phase where they are sort of torn in different directions due to certain life situations. They feel like they are harried, and they need to retreat back into themselves and find that harmony and stability, in which case I would probably recommend listening to strongly NI genres like ambient music, or music like, I think another good one is minimalist music, like the music of Philip Glass, for example, like with repetitive patterns, music that circles back on itself, that has the kind of structure that NI has. But sometimes what I think NI dominants are looking for is more so ways of feeding their NI with new inputs, because it's often something I talk about, is that if you never feed NI new inputs from external reality, in a sense, it would loop back on itself into sterility and into solipsism and self-contained aridity in some way, and the NI user will eventually be frustrated by this. So the kind of music I think that's good in that case, or the kind of music habits that are good, they're not necessarily the same as the ones that would be recommended if you're looking to retreat back into yourself because the outside world is very chaotic and you're trying to find your anchor. I think that you can also look for genres that you're not typically looking at or tempted to listen to. It can be things like pop music, and it can be things like rock music. It can be experimental. A lot of experimental stuff is really interesting. It changes, it's chaotic, there's lots of shifts. So it doesn't have a very NI texture, at least at first sight. But if you like, the feeding of the NI world via these products that are essentially conduits, channels of extrovert perception, SE in our case, in the case of INFJs, in a sense that will feed your NI world with new insights, with new patterns to work on and to enrich your NI tapestry, that you have. It's not going to change, it's here to stay. But when you're not looking to stabilize it, but make it more dynamic, there's nothing wrong with listening to music that at first glance might appear to be quite distant from what we might represent as an NI state of mind. And in fact, an NE state of mind or an SE state of mind would be more like it in these instances. I do think that fundamentally listening to music is going to be more a situation where you exercise your perceiving function. I don't really see like the musical experience, not the making of music. I'm differentiating the sort of receptive musical experience from the proactive construction of particular musical works, musical patterns. I think when we're talking about consumption, we're mostly, I think, talking about interactions between the music and our perceiving function. So again, if you're looking more towards stabilization of your NI world, NI music, if I may call it that, is probably better. If you're looking to enrich your NI world, because maybe you want to make it more dynamic, maybe you're looking for more excitement in a sense in your NI world, because we do need these changes as well, even though NI leads tend to embrace change slowly, incrementally, piecemeal, in a very kind of step-by-step kind of fashion. You know, basically branching out, exploring new stuff, even stuff that maybe at first sight you're not sure you like. The very exercise of engaging with novelty and exiting your comfort zone can be very beneficial. You know, it's one of the many ways in which you can exercise your SE function. You know, and in those cases, sometimes that has the advantage of not forcing you to confront alien and not always hospitable social realities that you may not want to engage with. You know, you don't need to really go outside and see lots of people and be stimulated in that way. You can just, you know, put on your headphones and explore music that you don't typically listen to. It might, the stimulation might not be immediate or might not happen at a conscious level, but usually there will be unconscious processes that do provide for stimulation and enrichment. And this might come up in, as often the NI language proceeds, in symbolic forms that you produce later down the line that you don't really know where it's coming from, but you find it, you know, interesting and often you're fascinated by it, because NI, the nature of NI is often to be fascinated by its own symbolic products, or by the symbolic products in the external reality that somehow resonate with symbolic products that it's contemplating already internally. Again, some of these phenomena are not conscious, and you can produce new symbolic forms by being really inspired by some music, and often that arises out of a confrontation with PE music of extrovert perception. So don't underestimate it. Okay. You're probably aware, if you watch my videos, or maybe you're not aware, that I've written 2 books on the INFJ personality, the Ecstatic Soul, and its sequel, the Infinite Soul, which just came out recently, to look at INFJ life in the modern world, a world often hostile to us, how to find meaning, purpose, and value, and the many ways of being an INFJ and thriving in the modern world. That's the book to get, the Infinite Soul. The link is below. If you have already got a copy but haven't reviewed it, I need more reviews for referencing purposes. Really helps. Bit of your time, thank you. The Ecstatic Soul looks more at the inside of INFJ consciousness, the INFJ mind, and its existential manifestations. You can also check it out at the links below. The two go very well together. And as you know, to keep the channel going, I need support and donations. There's a Patreon link. You can interact with me on Patreon. You can access bonus content. And overall, generally, it just really supports me and it's the lifeblood of the channel. So if you, if you would consider it, I would be immensely grateful, just in the same way that I'm immensely grateful to my current Patreon supporters that I salute. Okay, guys, take care of yourself, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.